Hello friends, I am Saket Bansal. I run a company named Eisenbridge Consultancy Private Limited, and in today's webinar we are talking about precedence diagram methods relationships. So there are dependencies between two activities, and there could be four types of those dependencies, and that is our primary focus of this particular webinar. Now when we talk about dependencies, it is like a logical relationship between two activities. For example, if the one activity is constrained by the previous activity, like in a relay race, the next runner cannot start till the time the previous runner passes the baton to him or her. So the second runner is constrained by the first runner's like handing over the particular token or particular baton to him or her so she can take it forward. So we can define it like there are two activities. When we get into the relationship, one activity is independent and another activity is dependent. So in order to define the relationship, we need to visualize that there are two activities, and one activity is doing some work, but the second activity, which is in this particular example is activity B, is dependent on the first activity. Means the starting of the dependent activity or a B is either influenced by the finishing or the starting of the independent activity. Now, independent activity can start or finish. Maybe independent activity may also have some dependencies, but it is not dependent on the activity B. So the activities A start and finish time will influence the start or finish time of activity B. So it's like that activity B is watching the activity A. Now, in a logical relationship or in a precedence diagram method, we talk about predecessors and successors. These are the two terms which are frequently used while explaining these concept. So predecessor activity is same like an independent activity, which usually comes before the dependent activity in a schedule. Like say if we take an example of software development, design and development. So we are talking about design becomes a predecessor activity. Once the design is over, the development will start. So development becomes a successor activity. A successor activity is dependent activity that logically comes after the another activity on a schedule. So or after the predecessor activity on a schedule. So same thing I am trying to explain, that activity A is predecessor, it is independent, and activity B is dependent, it is successor, and it is watching the activity A. Now, in this particular watching thing, the activity B is dependent on activity A. There could be four types of relationship. These relationships are defined as finish to start, finish to finish, start to start, and start to finish. And these four relationships are the agenda item for our today's webinar. Now, if we look at these four type of relationship, you will find that these relationships can be defined by two character, F and S. So when I use the term finish to start, we say FS. When we use the term finish to finish, we define it by FF. So these four relationships are defined by two characters, and this word is made by using F or S. Now the first character in this FFSS thing defines the state of independent activity. It defines that what is the triggering point, which state, is it finish, is it start, is the activity B is looking for. So the first character, let's go to the second slide, this explain it bit well. The first character defines the activity B is watching for what. If the first character is F, it means activity B is waiting for finishing of activity A. If the first character is S, it represents that activity B, the dependent one, is waiting for the starting of independent activity, which is activity A. The second character again is made by F or S, represent the state or the condition of a dependent activity. It represents where are we applying the constraint, where the rule or limitation is getting applied, or a condition is getting applied. If we have a F at a second character, it means the activity B, the dependent activity, cannot finish. If we have S as the second character, it represents the dependent activity cannot start till the time the condition is met. So in summary, these all four relationships are made by F and S. There are two characters. First character represent the state of independent activity. The second character represent the constraint or the condition applied on dependent activity. So if you think like this, it can help you to resolve many confusions which are related with the finish to start, start to finish kind of relations. Now we can take the first Q&A break here. So if you have any question, please let me know. If you have already posted, I will just look at them. Okay, so there are few things which are coming, like okay, finish to start examples and all. We will talk about it. Any other question on the content till now? So there are what we have covered till now. We have defined that there are four types of relations, and these relationships are meant with or can be defined by using characters like finish to F and S. F represent finishing and S represents starting. We don't have a question till now. Let's move to the second segment. Now let's look at the simplest, easy to understand, frequently seen relationship, which is called finish to start. Whenever we think of relationship, by default, finish to start is the relationship which comes in our mind. It is FS. What does it mean? The finishing of independent activity starts or triggers the starting of dependent activity. So it is clear, F and S. In a PMBOK language, it is defined as a logical relationship in which a successor activity cannot start. Activity B cannot start until a predecessor activity has finished. F, S. Till the time activity A finishes, activity B cannot start. So activity B is watching the finishing of activity A. Now, for example, you are doing development activity. So you can write like development activity cannot be started until design is finished. The design activity is expected to take 4 days. The development activity will take 10 days. So what would be the project duration? Now, relationship is, in a language, if you look at a PMBOK, activity cannot be started until X is finished. So you can notice that it is talking about starting, and after until it is talking about finished. So the relationship is becoming FS. If design is taking 4 days, so it means it can start on day 1 and it will be finishing on day 4 at the end of the day 4. Once design is over, then only I can start my development. So when can I start my development? After finishing of design. So design finishing plus 1 is my starting time. So if you look at in a critical path format, the activity design is taking 4 days. Its early start is day 1. Its early finish is day 4. Activity development, which is dependent on design, is starting on day 5. Why? Because it has to wait for design to finish. So design is finishing on day 4, then it can only start on day 5. Since it is taking 10 days, it will be finishing on day 14. 5 and 14 both are included in development. So at the end of day 14, it will get finished. How to calculate this? Start time plus duration minus 1 is the end date. So this most of you must be very familiar with. Now let's see a variation in finish to start relationship. Now this variation I am explaining in finish to start in detail, but this variation can come anywhere. There is a concept of lead and lag. Now this is again a confusing topic. Lag means I want to wait, I want to sleep, I want to wait for a while before I start. So if we look at the language, development activity cannot be started until one day after finishing, after design is finished. So it means I cannot start. So rule is applied on starting till the time somebody is finishing. So rule is FS, but there is another language until one day after finishing. It means what? I need to wait for one day after finishing of a design. So it becomes like FS plus 1. So the same activities, the design is still taking 4 days, the development is still taking 10 days, but now development cannot start on day 5. It has to start on day 6 because the design is finishing on day 4, but relationship rules talks about lag of 1 day. So gap of 1 day after this activity is finished. So I can only start on day 6. So this increases the project duration from 14 days to 15 days. Though both the activities are consuming the same duration as given in the previous example, but there is a lag time. So using lead and lag, the start time of that dependent activity can be visualized at that early finish of independent activity plus 1 plus lag. So this is how we can think of lag. Now there is another concept which is called lead. Lead is an opposite of lag. In a lag you are waiting, in a lead you are running ahead. You are leader, you are fast. So it is like, look at the language again, development activity cannot be started until one day before design is finished. Now at the place of after, here the language before has come. So the design activity, if it is expected to take 4 days and development is expected to 10 days, but I can start 1 day in advance. It means on day 4, both the design and development activities are getting performed. So the formula becomes early finish design plus 1 minus lead. So you can think like early finish plus 1 plus minus lead and lag. So if it is lag, you need to add the day. If it is lead, you need to subtract the day. And you start early. So relationships still remain finish to start. Your starting, the development activity starting is influenced by the finishing date of design. But rather than waiting for the final day, it can start 1 day in advance. So if something changes, if the design is delayed and you get to know the design will take 6 days, then development will also start on a 6th day only. Development will not start on a 4th day because it has a finish to start relationship with -1. So it will run only last day in parallel. It's not like it can start on the 4th day. So that is how the relationship is putting constraint on it, but with minus, with some lead days. So now we are done with the finish to start relationship and with lead and lag. If any questions here, I can take it. So lead and lags are mandatory. That's a question is coming, and the another similar question is coming that okay, why do we need a lead and lag? How do we decide a lead and lag? Do we use them in a real life? Now, as far as exam is concerned, you need to focus on the question: is it giving you a situation or not? But in a real life, does it really make sense to have a lead and lag? Yes, it does. For example, take an example that in a software development project, usually the tailing thing like user manuals and all, they have some lead times. So they don't wait for everything to finish, but they wait for that if only 10 days left to project the finish, then I can start this activity. So you do see things where you wait for a previous activity to come to at a stage, but you don't have to wait till the end date. You can start bit in parallel, but not complete in parallel. So if you have a situation where you can start bit in parallel, you have a lead. When you have a situation where you have to wait, now in PMBOK, the example is given like if you have done a concrete, then it will take 1 day to dry it, and then only you can apply something. Then you put a lag activity there that, okay, my material has come, it has to wait for drying or cleaning or something. Then you need a lag time. So it all depends upon the type of projects you are dealing in, and as a project manager, this is a part of your identification of dependencies. So the dependency identification is all about that only. Okay, so Venkat is asking an interesting question that how do we calculate lead and lag in a backward pass? See, when we are following a backward pass, we should respect the relationship. For example, if I have said lag -1, then we need to ensure that the relationship between late finish of these two activity should have a 1 day of overlap. So while calculating the backward pass, also we need to consider that rule is still remain applied. So yes, plus can becomes minus. So that is how you calculate. But in a common language, you need to ensure that my last finish and last finish of both these two activities should have a 1 day in parallel. Last finished and last start, sorry. Late finish and late start should have a 1 day in parallel. So late finished of activity design and late start of activity development should have a 1 day in parallel. And then we can take some examples using our forum. Okay, so finish to start is a very, very, very common relationship. You should be very, very comfortable with this, and you should be also very much comfortable with the lead and lag related things, because this is something which is a starting point. Everything is built on it. It's difficult to understand other type of relationship till the time finish to start is not clear. Okay, let's move to the other interesting ones. Now, what does it mean? I cannot start till the time previous activity is not started. So you can visualize it like this. Now, a logical relationship in which a successor activity cannot start until a predecessor activity has started. So in this, activity B is primarily waiting for activity A to start. So I am watching your start. I cannot start till the time you are not started. Now, there is a difference between thinking that a logical relationship in which successor activity cannot start until a predecessor activity. That's the one language, but this we should not interpret it like a logical relationship in which a successor activity starts as the predecessor activity starts. That is not the case. So I cannot start till the time activity A started, but if there is some cases, if I am calculating backward pass or something, it's not necessary that if activity A is starting on day 4, I must start on day 4. I can start on day 5, I can start on day 6, but I cannot start on day 3. So this relationship, if you are looking at two activities only, you end up thinking that, okay, it looks like these two activities will start in parallel. Not necessary. The rule is talking about that activity B cannot start, but it does not say that activity A and B has to start together. So keep that thing in mind, especially when you do a backward pass, when you calculate the late start, you may have a different late start than the starting of activity A. There could be a case where activity A is starting on day 4 and activity A late start is also day 4, but activity B early start cannot be before day 4 because it has a rule, but late start could be day 6. So this point we should keep in mind while we are doing questions in our forum. The previous 3 questions which I have posted, there were few issues related to this particular concept. Now, simple example, the activity of a marketing brochure preparation cannot start until user documentation activity has started. So for example, you are talking about packaging a product and shipping it to the market. Now it requires marketing brochure preparation, etc., etc. And you have designed it in a way that, okay, a marketing department is waiting a user documentation department to start, and they have made a rule that we can't start making a brochure till the time manual work, user manual thing has not started. So the example could be that marketing brochure preparation activity is expected to take 4 days and user manual activity preparation will take 10 days. So in that particular case, how do you calculate finish to start or early start or early finish date? That is what I have tried to explain here. So early start of a brochure is early start of user doc plus minus lead and lag. So now here also you may have a lead and lag concept. If user documentation is starting on day 4, the brochure can also start on day 4 if you do not have a lead and lag. But if you have a lag, it means wait. So user documentation, if it is starting on day 4 and if the relationship is SS plus 1, it means the brochure preparation cannot start till the day 5 because you need to wait. In a reverse, if you have a SS minus something, it means that user, as the user documentation started on day 4, and if the relationship is SS minus 1, the brochure could have be started on day 3. So brochure can be started 1 day ahead than user documentation. So this is how the lead and lag should be interpreted. Now, as far as formula and exam is concerned, the SS relationship becomes pretty easy because you don't have to plus 1 or anything, because it is just you need to copy the start times or an early start time of an independent activity to an early start time on a dependent activity. If there is a lead and lag, you need to take care of it. Another simpler one, finish to finish. Now, as the rule talks about 2 character, first character talking about F means again the independent activity finishing. The second character F is again driving the dependent activities finishing. So a logical relationship in which a successor activity cannot finish until a predecessor activity has finished. So I cannot finish till the time activity A is finished, but it does not mean as activity A finishes, I also has to finish. So I am again emphasizing on this point that it is putting condition for finishing, but it is not mandating. It is not mandating that I must finish my activity B on the same day as activity A is finishing. So this is another concept we should keep in mind while attempting questions. Example, user documentation activity cannot finish until development activity is finished. So user documentation will take 10 days, where development will take 40 days or 30 days. So it is like you are driving that we have to finish together, and I cannot finish the user documentation till the time development is finished. Now here also you may have lead lag, and the lead lag will have the similar impact as they had in a previous example. So if there is a lag, then I have to wait further to finish my activity. If there is a lead, then I can finish in advance as per my defined lead time. Okay, so question time. Now, a lot of time when you create a project plan in real life, you create without predecessors also. But especially for exam point of view, or for a good project relationship type of view, we need to remember that every activity should have some predecessor. So you should not have a hanging activities. Now in our real project plan, a lot of time we create a hanging activities like project management meeting, etc., etc. Those things are not considered while we take time management questions. So that is something which I am answering on the basis of some questions I got in this section. Yes, Amit, we do have questions where we have lead, lag, and all 4 type of relationship in a forum. In last 3-4 days, I posted 3 questions, and so please have a look at it. So Ashutosh is correcting me that I should use the language project schedule, not project plan. That is right. Because we should always focus, use the right language. A lot of time in project management we end up using term project plan for project schedule, and but at least when we do PMP we should remember project plan is a bigger thing and project schedule is only about time management and activities. So thanks for correcting that bad habit. Now a lot of time we think that why there are so many types of dependencies when I can manage it differently. For example, now this is something which is triggered by Lakshmi Narayan's questions. For example, I have a design activity which is development activity which is taking 10 days, and I have a user manual activity which is taking 4 days. Now rather than saying finish to finish, so if I say finish to finish, it also means that the user manual activity should be starting on day 7 and should be finishing on day 10, because both of these activities should finish in 10 days. Why can't I just say that the development activity which is also dependent on say activity X, why can't I make direct relationship from that activity X and put the development activity without lag time, and put the user manual activity with a lag time of 6. So if I do that, it will again start on the day 7 and the end result remains the same. So a lot of time you may think like this, that why we have to do all this stupidity where we can only manage the complete start and end by using finish to start relationship only. Or these all are convertible. You can convert them in each other. So why to use these different things? Now, we need to remember, when you are making a project plan, you are assuming that everything will happen as per the plan. But in reality, it will not. So if you make like both development and user manual is dependent on activity X. Activity X is start kickoff. So project got kickoff on time, and on the basis of kickoff, you need to start user manual on day 7. Development was expected to be over in 10 days, but now after starting development for 2 days, we think development will take 30 days. Now, development will take 30 days. How can we start a user manual on day 7? So, if you make a finish to finish relationship rather than based on finish to start plus 6 plus 7, you are dependent on finishing of development. So these relationships should be derived on the basis of how logically 2 activities are linked with each other, rather than just use as a tool to drive the start time. Start time can be driven or can be calculated by any relationship, and on a paper you can use multiple type of relationships and still make the same project plan. Your critical path you can show that okay, this would be my duration. But when you start executing, if you have the logical relationship rightly identified, maintaining project schedule becomes easier and more clear. In communication also, you can use clear language. The user manual team can tell that we are waiting for finishing of a development rather than saying that we are waiting for a kickoff of the project. So does this answer your query, Lakshmi Narayan? Okay, so now these things, like what could be the first date or last date of a project, so that could be the one question which we got. Now it is definitely dependent upon the project life cycle you are taking. So your organization will provide, your organization process assets will provide you a template for your project schedule. Your organization process assets will drive how the life cycle of a project should be managed, and that will drive the sequence of activities, the sequence of phases in your project. Now, this is the most confusing relationship. Start to finish. It's difficult to visualize, and it even put a question mark on a definition of predecessor and successor. Now, PMBOK defines it a logical relationship in which a successor activity cannot finish until a predecessor activity has started. So, start to finish is a type of relationship where the activity which is getting limited is already getting performed. So I am already doing my thing and my finishing is constrained by somebody else. So the security guard example, which is given in the PMBOK again, talks about that a guard A is performing his or her duty, and the guard A cannot finish the work till the time next guard comes to take charge. Now, it does not mean that whenever the next guard will come, we will start this guy will finish their activities, but he cannot finish till the time the next guard is not available. So a lot of time we get confused assuming SF this relationship as a FS relationship. We should not assume that second guard will start performing as the first guard will finish the work. So it is not finished to start relationship between these two activities. The second guard is coming and starting his or his work independently, but the previous guard is the poor chap who is bounded by the second guy. The second guy is not like he has to wait for taking an handover from the first guard and he cannot start till the time handover is done. He will come and he will start. But the previous guard cannot leave before the second guard comes in. Now let's look at some examples, because you don't have to understand too much about this situation. I have tried to make a simple example using a case. Like support activity from development team cannot finish until production support activity is started. So sometimes it happens that a development team keeps supporting the production deployment till the time the production support team comes and take over. So it's like now production support team is not dependent on development team. They have their own rules. They have their own processes, like they are getting hired, they are getting trained, they are getting mentored before they can start the production support activity. But development team has to support the product till the time the second team is not in place. Now we are expecting that production team will start on day 15. That's an expected date. So it is like the development team has to support the product till day 14. Now do remember, when you have start finish characters in a relationship, there is always a 1 day gap. So It's not like that on a day 15 only development activity will finish. Development support can finish on day 14 and the production support can start on day 15. If you have a lead and lag, then only you apply plus or minus in this particular relationship. So like FS, in SF also you have a 1 day gap. So I can finish when I know tomorrow the second person is starting, or a next hour the second person is starting. I'm not expected to run in parallel until unless there is a lead and lag, but I should know that from next point the next person is taking control. I should know, else I will not finish. I cannot force the next person to take a control. I cannot say that I am finishing on day 14. Production guys, you must be there on day 15, else product will crash. No. Production team has other dependencies and you are basically watching the production team to take control and move to your other projects. So you are not in a controlling situation. You are dependent on production support team. So this is how you can visualize this particular relationship. Okay, now there are few queries which I have to just compile and think about. Let me go to the previous slides where the SF relationship is getting defined. Now in a SF relationship, we start thinking that, okay, this relationship is becoming reverse. So does the definition of predecessor and successor also changes? Does it mean that now B becomes a predecessor and A becomes a successor? The answer is no. Now that is why I said that it looks bit weird. Even B is getting performed in a timeline before activity A, but it still remains successor because it is dependent. So the successors are primarily the one which are dependent. So you can say that since it is dependent, it remains as a successor. So A still remain a predecessor and B still remain a successor. But you don't have to worry that much for an exam. Exam will give you a situation, and you should always, only point you should remember is still B is the one which is bounded by the condition. A is independent. This relationship is not impacting any early start, early finish of activity A. Activity B early finish is impacted by activities A's early start. Activity A is still independent. No impact of relationship. Okay, now a lot of time there's an interesting question which has been raised. The relationship between lead and lag and fast tracking. Now, actually, crashing has no relationship with lead and lag, but sometimes let's talk about how the lead and lag and fast tracking and crashings are related. So what is crashing? Crashing is something that this activity is taking 10 days. If we put more resources here, it can be finished in 5 days. That is called crashing. You are putting more resources without compromising any dependencies. You are doing the thing. Now, what is fast tracking? Fast tracking is something that it has the relationship, but you are violating the relationship or you are compromising the relationship and starting something in advance. So, for example, ideally, the development should only start once the design is finished, but you want to fast track. You don't want to wait for design to finish, but you want to start in between. How do you achieve that? You achieve that by applying lead. So when you do a fast tracking, then you put the lead rule in it. Crash is putting more resource, putting more time, putting more money. Fast tracking, don't wait, start. Don't wait design to complete. Let's start the development. It may result in a rework, but you do it. So usually what we do when we apply a fast tracking, we use lead in an example, lead in our relationship. So we put some lead there and it will fast track the project. But it's not necessary whenever there is a lead, it means fast tracking. There could be some relationship where we just apply lead as a logical rule without even thinking about fast tracking. Like I was talking about the relationship between say user manual and brochure. So you may have some lead and lag there. Okay, is there any follow-up query on this particular concept? It is saying that I am confused that in slide that activity, because it says SF means activity A cannot start. Have I said that? In a logical relationship, in an where a successor activity cannot finish until a predecessor activity has started. So predecessor activity A. So the B activity cannot finish until activity A is started. That is what the language is all about. It means activity B has to wait for activity A to start. So activity B cannot finish till the time activity A starts. It confuses because it looks like that, okay, if we look in a day term, it is something like, let me take an example here. So this development is finishing on day 10, and production support is starting, sorry, the development is finishing on day 14 and production support is starting on day 15. It looks very simple, like finishing of development is starting the production support. You can look it as a finish to start relationship, but relationship is reverse. In a timeline, it may look like that on day 14 development is finishing and day 15 the production support is starting, but the rule is reverse. Development cannot finish till the time production support starts. So if production support starting get delayed to day 16, production development has to support till day 15. Not the reverse way. It's not like development support think that we should be supporting the project on day 20, production support cannot start. No, production support still can start on day 15 even if development team is involved till day 20. So if we just see a basic mathematical calculation, it may look simple that, okay, this is how it is. But we need to think what is constraining them, what is stopping them. The independent activity, which is activity A or a production support, is not bounded by the development support. Now, so let's get into the concepts. It is like what we put first. We put, let's focus on dependent and independent. Now start to finish with lead and lag. So let's take an example. The question has come that can we discuss start to finish with lead and lag. Okay. So let's do that. Now, if we have a lead and lag situation in a start to finish, means we think that development should wait for 5 days before they finish, means production support can start on day X, but development should wait after production support started for 5 days. Then it becomes a case of lag. We will say that, okay, we have a relationship which is saying that I am dependent on production support to start, then only I can finish, but with a lag of 5 days. So in that particular case, if we take this particular example, if the estimated early start of production support is day 15, and I want to have lag of 5 days, then I will wait. I will run 5 days in parallel. So this will finish on day 19. because I need to stay there for 5 days. And the reverse is lag. Okay, there could be a 2 days of gap period. Maybe now in this situation, the lag does not make sense. But if there is a gap period, a gap period is that if I know on day 15, the production support is starting, I can finish my work 1 day in advance. So if it's like a lag, so it means I can finish the work on day 13, 1 day nothing will be happening, and on day 15, production support people will start working on it. So when you have a lag situation, it means both these two activities, especially when you start and finish kind of relation, in this particular case, on the lag day, nothing is happening. Now, I think some of you have already tried the forum questions. If you look at the forum examples, it will make a few things clear. So let's quickly look at those 3 examples, and it will give you an idea that you may try solving them. And even community, like you people only have solved it. So from a forum only, people solved it, and I am using the same example. So last question I am taking from here is, where do the duration number comes from each and every activity? So Joseph, this is all about estimate activity duration process of time management, where you calculate the duration on the basis of 3-point estimate, on the basis of some logic or a parametric estimate. You calculate the duration. In an exam, you will get the duration of activities, but that drives the duration of activity. What drives the logical relationship? The business rules, the industry rules, the engineering practices, the resource constraints drive the relationship rules. So that is how you make it. So what is critical path method? Critical path method is one of the scheduling method where we use whatever we are doing in this particular webinar. We are talking about critical path method only. So it is like a default precedence diagram method we use, and we calculate the critical path, and we try to find out the best possible project duration so this is a critical path diagram. So let's take some example from the forum, and that was the goal. Mr. Daima is asking that in exam there are questions on finding path durations and with the different given relationship, and finding critical path. These type are time consuming, etc, etc, etc. Mr. Daima, I was answering your questions related to the exam. Yes, these type of questions are time consuming. I don't expect many such questions coming. You may have a relationship where, not like our sample exam where I am putting 6, 6, 7, 7 activities. You may get 3, 4 activities only. So the relationship, if the relationship is tricky, then number of activity would be less. So don't worry that much, and you are already doing good. So this was our first question. And you can try solving it even here if you want, or you can visit our forum and see these questions here. Here I spoke about the network diagram, and this was the simple one where we were only using FF and FS. So if you try solving them, you will get an idea about lead and lag, as well as doing forward pass and backward pass. So this thread can also directly be seen in your browser rather than seeing it on my screen only. You can see it in a browser. I have just pasted the link of the URL. If you go to this particular URL, you can see the complete history of this question. It was like an interesting discussion, and Mr. Daima was like a good actor and player of it. In an exam, you do get a diagram-based questions and table-based questions. So, and you can also get a simple textual questions the way I was asking during my presentation. But do make yourself familiar with diagram-based questions as well. So please look at this particular thread and explore the critical path, the durations here. Now, if you go further down in the thread, you will see that finally we have a solved question, and this is an image where Mr. Daima only solved it, and he explained the complete forward pass and backward pass. And that is why I have been insisting through my mails that please look at that these 3 threads. They can help you to utilize this particular webinar quite well. So if I explain it here, like this was having duration 2. So it finished on day 2, but it was the relationship was fs plus 1. So it cannot start on day 3. It has to wait for 1 day because there is a lag here. So it started on day 4. Like early finish plus 1 plus lag. So it started on day 4. And similarly, this particular case, the activity G was having plus 2. So it also had the thing. The tricky thing was finish to finish relationship here. So the activity C and E were having FF relationship. So now this arrow represent that this activity E cannot finish till the time activity A is finished plus 3 days. So the constraint is getting applied to an activity E, and there is also a lag of it. So if activity C is finishing on day 3, day 4, this activity 4 plus 3, which is 7, it cannot finish till day 7. So this was the tricky part in this particular relationship. Others were just to make it a bit elaborative and bit more putting more pressure on mind to calculate it fast. But this was the tricky thing, how to calculate, how to interpret this FF relationship. So friends, if you have anything related to this particular question, if you have already tried it, then you can ask me now. Else the interface or whatever the forum is always with you. We talk at there. So let me see if I have questions here. Now there is another thread these 3 questions covers the complete concept which we have discussed in this particular webinar. Now there was another one, critical path problem 2. Fs plus 1 was because we have given it the lag amit. That's why it is added. So this is the second thread which we posted. It was relatively simpler one. Here we explored all 3, not start to finish, but the remaining 3 relationships were explored here. So it was like Fs, Ss, and Ff. All those 3 relationships were exploited, and this question was taking an example and giving the things, and finally we had the solved solution of it. And I also shared a video where I am explaining all this. So you will get a good idea if you follow this particular thread about a question where we are using all the 3 relationship except SF. And then there was the final one where we used the SF relationship, and it remained unanswered for a while, but yeah, after that we got the answer. So this was the third thread, which I have also shared in a mail which I sent to all, where we had the explanation of it. So these are the 3 interesting questions, and I would request all of you to please try them. If you have a doubts, if you have an alternative to it, please share it. Consider it as a part of webinar itself. because rather than I explaining a small simple diagram, I thought of using it in an extended way where we have a relatively bit complicated question which takes time. You may end up doing 2-3 times. So don't look at the solution, just try to solve it on your own and then see where the confusions are. And if you follow the thread, maybe the confusions will get cleared just by following the thread. If not, post your queries. We are here to, we would be very happy to answer them and explain them. And Venkat like posted the query as well, that in a critical path. So a lot of time when we become too habitual of following finish to start relationship without lead and lag. So we end up thinking that, okay, if there are 3 activities, if we sum up the duration of these 3 activities, we would be able to find the duration of critical, we would be able to identify the critical path. The answer is no. Just don't rely on the duration, but also look at the relationship. If you have a lead and lag in between, then I may have 2 activities. Activity 1 taking 5 days, activity second or a B taking 10 days. If they are serial, the project will take 15 days. If they are serial with 5 days gap, the project will take 20 days. If they are parallel, the project may take only 10 days. So a critical path is influenced by the lead and lag also and the type of relationship also. So in a simple 2 example, we have explained it. Now, so it is not like that you always in a practical life, it is not necessary that you always have to apply lead and lag. It all depends upon your business case. How do you know? You know it on the basis of the templates, organization process assets, the situation of the project. You apply these things. So my recommendation to all of you is that please look at these 3 questions. A lot of time we think that in a critical path we don't have a lead and lag. No, the answer is no. You can have lead and lag. Critical path and lead and lag are independent thing. Lead and lag is more to do with the relationship between 2 activities. And critical path is about identifying those activities in which if there is a delay, it can delay the project. So you can have lead and lag in critical path. And in all our 3 example, in most of the time, I think all of these 3 examples, we have a lead and lag included in a critical path. So please look at it. And there was another interesting poll. So I am getting a question, so I am answering that. Is it mean that critical path means 0 float? The answer is no. The critical path may also have a float. Now that float is primarily driven by some constraints where you have different early start and early late start dates. In most of the cases you will find the critical path with 0 float, but if there are some constraint applied that I want this by this date, you cannot start by this particular date, you may have a float in a critical path as well. So there was a discussion on our forum. I posted in an open discussion where I created a poll and many of you participated in that, and we cleared it that yes, this is how it should be interpreted for the final exam. So yeah, whatever we are talking, Amit, is exam point of view only. So please look at that particular thread. We are using complete reference from PMBOK only. So please follow, and that was a frequent misconception. So that's why I created that thread. So my recommendation to all of you is that please use the forum resources along with our video content. Many of you are our clients, so along with our content which you already have, please remain active in forum because a lot of concepts are getting communicated via forum. Okay, friends, so stay connected through the forum, and thanks for joining our session on dependencies.